Welcome to Malta, the island of beautiful sunsets, blue seas, a paradise for sun worshippers wanting peaceful and friendly surroundings. A treasure trove of culture, history and natural beauty. Malta seems to linger forever in the past, combining a beautiful mixture of old and new. Centuries of different rulers and cultures have left an indelible mark on these islands. Malta's famous temples were built. And this, together with the modern amenities which Malta has to offer, will make your stay the holiday of a lifetime. The Maltese Islands are strategically situated in the center of the Mediterranean. The archipelago consists of Malta, the largest of the islands, its sister island Gozo, and Comino. There are also Cominotto, Filfla, and St. Paul's Island, small islets dotting the coast of Malta and Gozo. Its geographic location has helped Malta amass a history so rich and varied that it has often been the envy of its neighbors. The Stone Age saw the advent of the first settlers, arriving by sea from Sicily, bringing with them Neolithic culture, domestic animals, and grain. They also brought with them their knowledge of pottery making, flint and obsidian tools, and also personal ornaments such as amulets. Evidence of this can be found at Ar Dalam, the Cave of Darkness. At some point during the Stone Age period, these magnificent structures, many of which consist of freestanding megaliths, predate Stonehenge and the pyramids at Giza. No one really knows the purpose of these temples, but seeing the sunset behind a 3,000-year-old Hajar'im, it is not difficult to believe they were meant as places of worship. Probably the best-known incident of the Roman period is the shipwreck of St. Paul in the year 60 after Christ. Traditionally, this is the introduction of Christianity to the Maltese Islands, a tradition still going strong nearly 2,000 years later. The shipwreck of St. Paul is still celebrated as a national feast day every 10th of February. The Roman Catholic faith is still very much in evidence today, with hundreds of churches all over the islands, at least 365, one for every day of the year. Religion has been a mainstay of Maltese culture and society since the arrival of St. Paul. The parish priest, Il Capellan, until recently enjoyed mayoral status in all villages and towns. His advice was sought in everything, naming a firstborn, blessing a new donkey, and settling the inevitable neighbors' disputes. The village festa is the most important event in any village in Malta. These festas are celebrated between April and October. Every weekend sees at least one taking place somewhere on the islands. Festas are taken very seriously by everybody concerned, often reflecting the friendly but intense rivalry between villages. Streets are decorated with banners, statues and lights weeks before the event. Houses are turned out and spring cleaned, the best curtains put up, brass knockers polished, windows sparkling clean, and of course, new outfits for all the family, called Lilbis tal-Festa. Quite simply, clothes for the feast. The grand finale for each festa is the Sunday procession, when the village band, Il Banda Rahal, tours the streets with villagers carrying a larger-than-life statue of the patron saint. Incidentally, this is a greatly vied-for honor, and in some villages, the privilege is actually handed down from father to son. And in the evening, of course, fireworks. Months of labor, expense, and occasional danger go into a few hours of fantastic and deafening displays. A determination to outdo the neighboring village is an essential ingredient to all festas. Malta is famous for its fireworks, and they are a must for any visitor. The year 1530 saw the arrival of the Hospitaller Order of St. John, better known as the Knights of Malta. In 1521, the Knights, then residing in Rhodes, were besieged for 6 months by the Ottomans, led by the Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. After being turned out of their palaces and homes, they roamed Europe for several years before being offered Malta as a home by Emperor Charles V, who demanded a token payment of 1 falcon per year. The main town was Mdina. Located inland, almost at the center of the island, Mdina still stands today. Many centuries have left their mark on this noble city, known as the Silent City, with its narrow streets, mysterious alleys, ancient houses, its monumental cathedral, its magnificent palaces and houses. Mdina is truly a gem in Malta's crown. The order left Mdina to the already established Maltese nobles and settled in Birgu, which was little more than a fishing village grown under the shadow of Castrum Maris, or Fort St. Angelo. From this magnificent center of operations, commanding almost the entire Mediterranean, they could, and did, harass Muslim shipping to the point where a final showdown was inevitable. Almost from the moment they settled there, they built, fortified, and prepared for the storm they knew would have to break. The dawn of May 18th, 1565, brought with it the might of the Turkish fleet. "200 galleys and 40,000 men including the Sultan's most feared weapon, the elite fanatical Janissary Corps, picked from childhood and trained to absolute, unquestioning obedience to Suleiman, himself an honorary Janissary private. The defense force consisted of 9,000 men, 600 of them knights, the rest local militia. When the alarm was given, the entire population withdrew to Birgu, Senglia, Mdina, and the citadel in Gozo. Livestock and supplies were taken. What crops had not yet been harvested were destroyed. Animal corpses thrown into wells. Within weeks, disease was rife in the Turkish camps. Out of an army of 40,000. The siege was fiercely fought and bravely won. Suffice it to say, the Turks retreated with 10,000 men. What is better known as the Siege of Malta? Asked Voltaire. True words. But a more immediate legacy of the siege was Valletta, named after Grand Master Jean Parisot de la Valette, who led the victory against the Turks. A city built by gentlemen for gentlemen. A city which seems to be like a dream. Palaces were built for each of the 8 langs of the order. One of the oldest theaters in Europe, the Manuel Theater, was built in the 18th century by Grand Master Manuel de Villena, and is also in use today for musical and dramatic performances by companies from all over the world. But the Order's greatest architectural achievement must surely have been St. John's Co-Cathedral. Its facade is plain to the point of austerity, as befits warrior priests bound by vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. But the inside of the Order's conventual church was lavishly decorated by some of the finest artists of the period. Caravaggio's The Beheading of St. John is only one of the cathedral's treasures. The floor itself is a masterpiece, consisting of over 250 marble tombstones, each unique, each a work of art in itself. The second great siege of Malta took place in World War II. Many books have been written about the heroism of the Maltese during this period of great trials, destruction, and suffering. In December 1942, Malta was awarded the George Cross by King George VI, the highest honor bestowed by the British Empire. In 1964, the Maltese Islands were finally granted their independence after more than 150 years of British colonial rule. In 1974, Malta was formally pronounced a republic. Malta today is a reflection of its noble history, as well as being modern and up-to-date in all aspects of life. Ancient crafts like pottery, lace making, wickerwork, and many others exist side by side with the internet, techno music, and international business. Tourism plays an important part in our economy. Malta has a lot to offer all kinds of visitors. Those who seek relaxation, Malta offers its peaceful countryside, where one can go on long jaunts encountering nature and history most of the way. Gozo, the second largest island of the Maltese archipelago, has a surprising abundance of history and culture for its size. Gozo's history even touches fantasy, believed to be the island home of the beautiful nymph Calypso of Greek mythology. More reality-based recorded events show how Gozo has been touched by cultures and civilizations throughout Mediterranean history. The island has retained its physical beauty. Its terraces of closely ranged hills characterize the rural landscape. Some hills rise to impressive heights with ancient villages gracing the plateaus. Gozo is greener than Malta, looking more fertile and less populated. The island is a haven for holidaymakers in search of uninterrupted sunshine in the summer or mild winters. Both countryside and beach are always close at hand. The peacefulness one feels on this tranquil island is reflected by the unmistakable feeling that time has stood still. Those seeking a cultural experience will not be disappointed, as Gozo shares a past as rich as Malta. Its history has been touched by the Knights of St. John, the Arabs, the Byzantines, the Romans, the Phoenicians, and right back to prehistoric ages. Discovering Gozo is easy. Passenger ferries provide a regular service to and from Malta, and the journey across the channel, where the tiny island of Comino rises in the middle, takes just 20 minutes. Once you have arrived in the harbor, the problem is not trying to find something to do. It's trying to decide what to do first. Crowning Gozo's capital city of Rabat, otherwise known as Victoria, is the Citadel, or the Gran Castello. origins of this fortified city dates back to the late medieval era. It was refortified by the knights in the 17th century to provide refuge and defense against the numerous attacks by the Turks and Corsairs. The citadel, a little reminiscent of Mdina in Malta, occupies what was at the time an important strategic position high up on a hill in the center of the island. The views are nothing short of magnificent. The cathedral in the citadel was designed by Lorenzo Gaffar and built between 1697 and 1711. The megalithic temples of Gigantia, similar to the ancient temples found in Malta, date back. You will have to venture below the surface of the blue Mediterranean to approximately 3600 BC. The huge stones on the outer wall reach as high as 6 meters and weigh several tons, intriguing visitors when wondering how the temple builders, with their primitive resources, managed to construct these huge monuments. Dweira is a treasure trove of stunning natural beauty. All within close proximity are Fungus Rock, the Azure Window, and the Inland Sea. Or perhaps Marsalforn with its long promenade. Fungus Rock, otherwise known as the General's Rock, was cherished by the Knights of St. John. A very rare form of fungus grew on the huge monolith, which the Knights believed to possess strong healing powers. The Inland Sea is nothing short of a phenomenon. Constantly supplied with fresh seawater via a natural tunnel, the area provides ideal bathing conditions, and the water is warmer than the open sea. Boat rides operate from the Inland Sea to the Outer Sea. The Azure Window is a visual marvel. Sea breaches created the natural giant window over a period of thousands of years. There are further sights to behold when at Dweira, but to see these, the sea around the Maltese Islands is a paradise for divers with its amazing clarity, sea life, and underwater wrecks. Dweira is recognized as one of the most interesting dive locations. There are many remarkable churches in Gozo dominating the landscape, and one of the most impressive must be Tapinu. This is an important place of pilgrimage for Maltese and Gozodans all year round. If you want to be close to the sea, then the fishing village of Schlendi, with its impressive views and busy restaurants, is a must. Close to Marsalforn is the eerily quiet and visually inspiring Bayar. But if it's a sandy beach you are looking for, then Ramla Bay will definitely satisfy you with its distinct red-hued sand, long coastline, and clean waters. As you can see, Gozo definitely has a little something for everyone. For those of whom sports is a way of life, Malta can offer many different disciplines. In the way of water sports, one can mention swimming, scuba diving, water skiing, jet skiing, windsurfing, and sailing. The young people's mecca in Malta is, of course, Parcherville. Clubs, bars, discos, restaurants, and takeaways can be found in this hipper-than-hip locality, offering the best and latest in sounds and food. Maltese cuisine is in a class of its own, a mixture of Mediterranean, Arabic, and continental influences. The end result can only be described as out of this world by those who have sampled some of our mouth-watering dishes. All in all, a visit to Malta and its islands is in itself a unique experience, as nowhere else can be found such a mixture of history, culture, food, and fun. But be warned, once you've been to Malta, you may never want to leave.